Great.
now so that I don't forget. And now we could have that weird, awkward, stilted, oh, the microphone is live. So now I must use my professional voice. But yeah, like my goal is to highlight you and your awesomeness as much as possible. Like that's the goal of the whole project, is that, again, being mentalist, I get to meet the weirdest people on the planet. And enough people asked me, did you go to college for this?
I
That
love it.
I got tired of being like, that's the stupidest question I've ever heard. And then I was like, actually, that's a really smart question. I'm the idiot here. So that's why I started Mind Reader University. And the conceit of the show is we're picking the brain, right? That's another thing that I was like, who picks brains? I
Who
pick
picks
brains for
brains?
a
Yeah.
living, right? So then, so the conceit of the show is Mind Reader University picking the brains of the world's biggest thinkers, so
Love it.
that like muggles who
Muggle.
who don't
Harry Potter
live a
reference.
life of imagination can get a peek into how these weirdos think about
Mhm.
life and opportunity and that kind of thing.
Totally. Oh, I love
So
this.
when I was seeing your profile, that's why it just was like, yep,
Yeah.
you fit as a
Click.
professor at Mind
You
Reader
also
University.
you also interviewed Christina Flack, right? The
Yes.
makeup artist. She loved
Yes.
your interview. She does interviews like 6 of them a day, and she was like, "This was the best one ever." So anyway, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
pretty big compliment. She
Thank
literally
you.
does them like 24/7. I don't know how
Well,
she finds time to like eat, drink, or sleep, but
yeah.
yeah, she
I
loved your interview.
I have to warn everybody, I'm entirely susceptible to flattery, so that will get you everywhere with me. My fiance, she's come to grips with it.
That's
She's
great.
understanding. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. It's fun to play board games with people like you, or like games like Spoons or something, like where your attention can be grabbed at any time by by someone else. I played with this friend who is very similar. We went to China, and he goes on this tour, and he was what do they call it when you get taken by locals?
Oh,
He
Shanghai.
was shanghaied. Thank you. That's exactly it. And someone asked him to go to tea. It's like in your guidebook, it says don't help Chinese people practice their English. Like they're just, I'm so sorry if you can hear that, but
Nope.
they're just like trying to scam you for money. And so he went to this like $200 tea ceremony. I mean, it was like, but basically they said he looked like a movie star. And that's what it started like he just got one little compliment. So then after that, we played spoons, and it was so fun. I'd be like, Luke, your hair looks amazing today. And he'd be like, thank you so much. And there'd be no spoon in the middle for, like
That
every time I could beat him. It was
is
awesome. Be like, you're so
fantastic.
handsome. Can I have your wallet, please? Thank you.
Here you go. Worth it.
Yeah,
I really needed that
exactly.
today.
That
Yeah.
was worth it. Exactly. Oh man. Anyway,
Hmm.
sorry. Okay, so we can start, but anyway, I just thought I'd give you that little compliment and that little
Thank you. Thank
story.
you.
Okay.
So, let's see. As far as gabbing goes, I love conversation.
Me
I've got
too.
time for the whole hour and a half would be totally fine with me. I
Cool.
want to be super respectful of your time so that if at any point you're like, "Hey, I got to go," you got to go. So,
Okay,
don't
great.
feel bad about the awkward dismount.
Okay.
So
Awkward
the
dismount.
the calendar says we're done at the top of the hour. If we keep going, you're in the driver's seat there for
Okay. Cool.
when you pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
Uh, so my style is delightfully ignorant.
Nice.
I like to be completely uneducated about my conversation topics. I'm not. I actually know a little bit about your work,
Yeah.
but I like to play the part of a complete idiot who would ask you really stupid questions because it's easy
Yeah.
for me to play that character.
Oh my God, I love
Totally a
this.
character.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So that way I ask the questions that,
This is
again,
awesome already.
a muggle would ask you too.
Yeah,
So
muggles.
that's kind of the
Yeah, there's no such
approach.
thing as a dumb question. That's
Oh no, no, I will fight you on that. They're really stupid questions. Like the stupidest. Ask them so that you don't stay stupid.
Yeah.
Ask the
Okay.
stupid question once, you're now smarter for the rest of your life. Don't ask the stupid question, stay
Twice.
stupid forever.
And yeah. Oh, okay. I was gonna say if you ask a stupid question twice though, it gets a little bit like, oh wait, there's a
Yep.
common denominator here, honey. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
now you're
But
just an
that's
ask
true.
hole.
Okay, I haven't heard that one before. I'm gonna keep it in my back pocket for a
Yeah,
rainy day.
it
Thank
is
you.
unfortunately handy. You'll
Yeah,
use it way more often than
ask
it
Cole.
ever should be.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. Okay,
Yep.
thank you
All
for
right.
that.
So, for the like the one bit of decorum that we have
Yes.
is for you to interview like to interview yourself.
Interview
I'm just going to
yourself.
sit back and shut the
I
hell up.
knew.
Now, to introduce yourself so that
Cool.
you get your name right, and if you don't, it's your fault.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, I'm gonna start. Hey, I am Empress. I'm a singer-songwriter, former ballerina with San Francisco Ballet, and Broadway actress. I did this little shindig on Broadway for a couple years called An American in Paris. And yeah, I'm here. I'm very excited to be here.
Your your aesthetic is so well developed. That's the thing I just wanted to start with, which
Thanks.
is
That
your.
that means a lot.
It does coming from me. If you don't know that, well, you just find out. Is that your sensibilities are so well dialed in that I was super impressed, and that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to have you on.
Aw, stop, stop, really.
Because you are a multidisciplinary artist and creative person who seems to have also figured out to not be poor.
Hmm,
That's a big
yes.
one.
That is a big one. That's a good point.
How you do this?
How you do this? I think that well, okay, so first of all, there's like it's written in the stars for sure. Like I was born a dancer. I knew music. I have this like intuition about music where I can like even as a little baby, I would know when the end of a song was coming without hearing the song before. You know, it'd be like this symphonic Disney, credits or something, and I just knew the end of I could just feel the music somehow. And then that worked into dance, and then storytelling is in dance, and I became a good storyteller. And so yeah, there's definitely like I won't say that everyone could take the same path as me only because at some point you really do just need like to have that natural born gift. And I think that the most important part about making a living in anything is like kind of finding what you're good at and then pursuing it and figuring out what your target looks like and then really like shaping that before you shoot. So like kind of preparing your dreams, right? Like preparing for your dreams and preparing your dreams before you go that direction. And I'm getting better and better at that as I get older because when you're like 7 years old and you write down that you want to be a ballerina, and then you're like a ballerina and you're crying because nobody told you that it was going to be this hard, like as an adult, now I'm using that like I used that a little bit like okay, I need to dream bigger and I need to dream smarter and I need to dream with what I know now as an adult, not just like I want to be this when I grow up. It's like now when I decided I was going to be a singer, I did the same thing that I did when I was 7 years old. I want to be a singer. And then I was like, but what kind of singer and how do I want and what does my lifestyle look like and how does that all work and what do I want to do with that and why and all of those things. So I really like take my time before I put any action into it. It's all dreams, but the dreams are very clear and then once I have that clear vision, which is why that compliment meant so much to me because from you was because I put so much into it before I did anything. And then now it's just so much easier because it's like as a dancer, I learned this very, very early on by one of my mentors. She was genius. Like you can see the genius in her movement. And she never messed up on stage. And you could like see the way that her mind was connected to even like her pinky toe. Like it was that she was just in her head, and then from there her body reacted. And I'll never forget understudying her in something, and she would ask all these questions, and the choreographer would want to like murder her because he'd be like, just try it. Like most of ballet is just like trying something and you fall out of it, and they're like, oh, I really like that. Let's do that again. And then that is the choreography all of a sudden. You're like, oh, I just messed up the first time I tried it. She doesn't mess up. So she'd ask all these questions. She'd be like, well, where do you want me to land in my jump? Do you want it to be center stage? Do you want it to be on the side of the stage? Where do you want me to end up? They're like, I don't know, just try it and we'll figure it out. She's like, no. Like there's girls in the background like me, like doing a million jumps and falling and tumbling and doing all these things. And she's just like, and then what's after that? Like, where do you want my weight to be? When I land from this jump, where should I be? Like, what's the next step? What should I be preparing for? And he'd be like, I don't know, just do it. And then here's the best part: she would know. He would finally answer all of her millions of questions. She'd do it once perfectly, and she'd be like, all right, what's next? I mean, it was like amazing. Whereas I'm exhausted because I've done something 60 times without knowing what I was going to be doing next. And then you get injured because you're overusing everything. So, anyway, my point of all of that is think before you dance, is what she taught me. And then I applied that in my life. And I just kind of go, think before if you're going to put so much energy into a dream and making a dream happen, just like know the plan and know what you're going to do and then do it once and be really good at it. Right? I mean,
Amen. Yeah.
boom, mic drop. No, I'm kidding. But I just
Yeah,
learned that from like my favorite dancers and thought I'd share
that is fantastic.
a gift to
See,
you.
those are the kind of patterns that show up regardless of industry, regardless of passion or interest. It all keeps creeping up as the same kind of thing, right?
Totally.
Because one of my favorite people, and anybody that's listened to the show long enough will have heard me say this. I try to cut it out every time I say it, but keep showing up, which is a buddy of mine, Charles Faulkner, says that stories are our original information storage and retrieval devices. It's
Oof.
where we put everything, our values, our principles, how we behave, how we get punished. All of
Right.
our humanity is narrative. So he talks about your imagination isn't what you think, it's how you think. And we
Yeah.
think in stories. So, like, stories are our humanity. So, when you're saying storytelling through movement, I'm like, yep,
Oh,
I get it,
ding.
right?
Yeah, totally.
And
Stories. Yeah, that's
and
so
being
cool.
able to envision what it is that you want, because most people do have that 7-year-old's resolution of what
Right.
resolution in terms of clarity, not
Yeah.
determination. They have a
Right.
very rough picture of, I want to be a ballerina. I want to be a magician when I grow up. Wait a minute,
Right.
that guy on the Carson show with the two lovely assistants, I could work with them. Okay, I know what I'm
Mhm.
doing for the rest of my life.
Right.
So that very
Exactly.
caricature way of resolving to do something. But
Mhm.
then after my shows, people come up to me and go, I can't even imagine being a performer, traveling the world. And it's literally true that they are unable to imagine
Imagine. Yeah.
a
And
different outcome than, let me go to college for 5 years. I did that
right.
too. So I'm not dinging on anybody but me.
No, I know. Well, yeah, there's that as well. I mean, I remember having conversations about that too with a few dancers from my hometown. They were so talented. I'm like, guess what? College you can do after you dance, but if you want to actually be a ballerina, your best years, because it relies on your like this is your job, your best years are the college years, and then you don't have a career after. I mean, if you want to go to Broadway, you can, but that's not quite the caliber of ballet. So it's so funny how I never bag on college, but when it comes to specifically being a dancer, if you do want to be a dancer, and parents don't understand this part too, is that dancers actually get paid quite a bit of money, like as in a big company. I remember having an argument with one of these kids that I was like really trying to, because no one from my hometown has ever really done anything except for me. And so I'm always like, but it's not that there's not talented dancers, it's that their parents don't understand that those years are the most important thing. And there's no guarantees. you can be the best person in the ballet school and still not get a job. And so that doesn't, it doesn't mean anything. But I've done it a couple of times where I'm like, oh, don't send them away to college. This is like their prime. Anyway,
Right.
I
And
could,
and you were the youngest member to join the San
yeah.
Francisco Ballet, so you might know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, a puff puff moment. I remember making a lot more than this parent that didn't want to let their child come to dance for the ballet school at the time. I was like, she's gonna get a job if she goes to this ballet school. You got to just let her go. Because my parents let me go at 14. It's very, I mean, I was young, but I was also like always a 70-year-old. So it's like that there's that element as well as just like an old soul 14-year-old. But like, there's you have to let them go. And I remember having this argument and asking the parents, like, how much like do you make for a living? Like how they were like school teachers or something. I was like, I make more than you and I'm 16 years old and I'm in a company. Like this is my dream. Your daughter's better than I was. Like you'd have to let her go. So my parents let me go at 14 to study with San Francisco Ballet School. It was kind of crazy because I grew up in this tiny little town. I had a lot of fairy godmother-esque teachers. Everyone gave me their little gift. It'd be like one person was a really good jumper, so I learned how to jump from them. Someone else could speak French, so I learned how to speak French from them. And like everyone gave me their little gifts, and not one of them taught me everything I know, even though they all take full credit for that. It's like, sure, take it. It's fine. But I'm here to set the record straight. There's not one teacher in the world that can give you everything you need to become an artist or anything. I mean, like a doctor, one person cannot give that to you, but a bunch of people can. I came from this tiny little town though, where like my ballet teacher was like a showgirl from Vegas back in the day, and she had the best stage presence in the world. So there was that gift. Anyway, I get like a full merit scholarship to San Francisco Ballet School, which is unheard of. I was a tiny little fish in a big pond. I was from Lake Tahoe, California, and then going into San Francisco Ballet School, I remember like there's girls that had been there since they could crawl, and it was pretty intense actually, to go there, and I was very far behind, but I had potential, which was actually never meant to be a compliment. It was like you have potential, but you suck right now. Like that was kind of what the teachers would say. They'd be like, you have a lot of potential. I'd be like, cool. And I was such an eager beaver and I really just wanted everything so much. And somehow it was like the opposite, like the tortoise and the hare. The hare won the first leg of the race. Like I came, there were these girls that were in line for the company member spots that should have been in front of me. And then I got the job. And I was the youngest in the company's history. There's only like 5 of us that have been 16 years old. Like since we're the oldest company in the country, so that's saying something. And yeah, so I had this like a really amazing, how long? 11-year career with San Francisco Ballet. So it was a pretty awesome experience. Very challenging. Like I'm glazing over a lot of the tough elements because I have a glass half full mentality. So,
Yeah. Well, that's
and
that's kind of a detail I wanted to make sure to touch on, not just
yeah,
to air dirty laundry or talk about how tough things are.
yeah.
Having said that, though, one of my favorite words of all time, and the idea it draws the boundary around, is sprezzatura. Love that.
Spritzatura. Okay, wait. I actually don't know this word. Tell me. What does this
A
mean?
a
Spritz.
studied carelessness, particularly around extraordinarily difficult effort,
Oh my gosh.
to belie how difficult something is.
Oh, I love
So
it.
it's a studied
Okay.
affectation of this is easy when it's really hard to do.
Yeah,
I
totally.
love that. And
That's exactly what you need
magicians,
to do in the
e-
ballet. And it's
exactly.
probably exactly what you do as a musician. Not a musician, magician.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because
I'll get it.
your mentor, who is extraordinarily exact, when you're learning a card trick or you're learning to do a second deal or a bottom deal, any of those kind of card sharp techniques
Yeah.
that if you're a millimeter off get you shot at a card game, you
Mm-hmm.
better be precise. So you spend a lifetime developing a skill specifically to not show your ability. And when I
It's
was
amazing.
watching your videos of some of the choreography and dance and music videos, which we'll get into the music side of things too, the the light, airy wisp of a thing movement that you're capable of is completely counter to the meat and water that is a body that weighs things, that is moving through space against gravity.
Right.
So none of that is easy.
No.
It
You
is
basically have just
world
found
class difficulty
the
to
most
make it look
perfect
simple.
way to describe it in one word. That is exactly how it feels to be a dancer. We do all of these crazy hard things and we have to make it look easy. Like when I would get injured and we'd go to physical therapy, like there's this monster of a physical therapist who she makes you do like the most insane things. Like there's pictures of her, she's tiny next to Michael Jordan and he's being whooped, you know, like in his she's tough. And I'll never forget, she'd just be like, dancers are insane. I give you guys the hardest exercises and you guys somehow smile. I'm like, yeah, it's messed up, but like that's how we're trained. We're like, it hurts, you smile through that pain, okay? You know, like you're gonna see those bloody toes, you know, after the show, but during the show you will not see any sign. Like there was a couple shows where I could not walk and then I'd run on stage and I could dance and I'd be fine and then I'd come off stage and I'd be like, I need a stretcher. Like there's no way I can walk to the dressing room right now. I have no idea how I just did that show. It's
I
crazy.
call that stage health.
Stage health. What's stage
Yep.
health to you? This
That's
is
that's
great. I'm
exact
learning
that's
all these
exactly it.
things.
That's exactly it
Stage
because
health.
yet you have insane food poisoning. Like the worst food poisoning I've
Mm.
ever had is its own
Ah.
45 very gross minute story
Oof.
about just there were many problems. One of which was being in the middle of a
Oh.
problem and being introduced and then having to run out on stage.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
your adrenaline just kicks in and you could
Yeah.
be near death. And when you're on stage, it's not a show must go on. It's a I got to
Yes.
get paid. And also, yeah, your body's adrenaline dump just
Yeah.
takes over a lot of problems.
It really
And like
does.
I'm
It's
superhuman.
amazing. Yeah. No, I've seen some amazing things on stage that people, you know, they get very injured on stage and they'll just keep going and you're like, whoa, that person's kneecap is sideways. And you're like, and they're still dancing. How? We don't know. But my best moment of like when you just said, what was the word? It was
Sprezzatura.
Sprezzatura. I have to
Hmm.
remember that one, and if I don't, you have to remind me after the show. Sprezzatura was I was in a nail salon, and this woman I never get my nails done, by the way, so I don't know why I was there. Um, this woman asked me about ballet because she found out I was a ballerina, and she goes, "Oh, I always thought I would take a, or I always wanted to take a ballet class because it looks like such a good workout. You guys are always in such good shape." But she's like, "But it just didn't look very hard. Like when I saw you guys perform, I was like." I just decided not to. And I was kind of like, wait, what? Like, this is such a dumb conversation. What are you saying? She goes, you guys never sweat. I'm like, you should see how many trees have fallen for those paper towels in the back. Like we have, you know, lots of tissues and we probably go through at least a tree per performance because you come off stage, you're drenched, you wipe it off and then you come back on stage and you're like, oh, it's so easy. But it's not. It's really,
It's not. And that's
it's not.
that is a huge thing. Every industry has that
Yeah.
because also like
Yeah.
counterpoint to that is effort doesn't equal value. If I hire you to dig a hole, I'm paying you for what that hole is worth to me. I'm
Yes.
not paying you for how tough it is for you to do it. You could
Right.
show up with a spoon, a shovel, or a backhoe. That hole is still worth the same to me. So I don't care about how tough this is for you,
Yes.
right?
That's exactly right.
So you
Yeah.
don't have to make things more difficult than they are,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because they're already hard enough.
Yeah. That's right.
But
Totally. Oh my God, I love
um
that you just said that. I don't care if you have a spoon. That's exactly how it feels as an actor too. It's like you just don't know when you sign a contract for a show, you don't know what this show is going to be. And this is same for music, same for ballet. When you get cast in a show, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. No one ever, by the way, wants to be a part of a bad show. And sometimes you think it's going to be the best show, everything makes sense, and then it's just still a bad show, and you're just like, how do we put all this energy and effort and money into this show and it sucks. I mean, there's like no other way to slice it. We've all been a part of things where you're like, no one wanted our team to suck so bad, but like, and we don't know which one came first, the chicken or the egg, but like something happened where it just isn't working, you know?
Yep.
But you still
Yeah.
put in a lot of effort. It's always so much effort for good, bad, everything. It's, you know, but the name of the game for showbiz is like, it's everyone has an opinion and they have the right to have their opinion. And sometimes, you know, and it's all art. Everybody has their own perception, good, bad. We want to have those two categories, good, bad. I didn't care. I loved it. You know, it's a few categories.
Yeah.
Categories.
Yeah. Man, I'm difficult to impress with dumb questions, but that's a great one, right? About, oh, that looks so
It
easy.
looks so easy.
It
I was
wouldn't,
like, don't say
yeah.
that ever again.
It's like say Arnold Schwarzenegger can bench press 500 pounds and it looks easy. So you know what? I'm not
That's a
gonna
good
lift the
point. Yeah.
45-pound bar. And you're like, no, you're weak. You
Right.
are weak. He is
Yeah.
strong. You are weak. That is, wow,
Amen.
that's a new level of
Oh,
absurd.
I
Wow.
know. I know. Hey, you know what? This year was really fun. No, not this year. 2020 wasn't a fun year, but the very, very beginning of the year it came out. It's the US something or other where they tell you the top, I think, 200 hardest jobs in the country, and ballet, or not ballet, dance was at the top. It was number one because they go through all the different reasons why, but it's like flexibility, strength, coordination, you know, like focus, all these things that, you know, that you do.
Yep. Well,
So
I I
anyway.
have I have some I have some hypotheses that I want to run through your science lab.
Okay, let's do it.
Um, I love kung fu.
Ooh,
Love it. I
yeah.
practice martial arts every
Do you?
morning. That's part
Oh
of
my
my
gosh.
ritual is I do Wing Chun Kung Fu. That's the flavor Kung Fu that I do.
What
And
the
it is a
flavor?
self-contained system. It's a lifetime's worth of study.
Yeah.
It's designed to be super compact as a system to cover your bases, to get
Mm-hmm.
you trained as quickly as possible. Hey, because in the spring, the marauders are going to be coming over the mountain range, and we got to get you up going
Right.
in 4 months, that kind of thing, right?
Right. Right.
So,
Crash course in a way.
yep, it's a system
Mm-hmm.
divided into 6 different forms,
Okay.
which I call battle choreography.
Oh my God.
That's
Bad
all it is. You
choreography.
just learn your choreography. You don't need to understand why. Little Miss
Right.
ask a million questions. Just do it. And
Do it
this is
or
programming
die.
your
Kidding.
neuromuscular system to align properly with physics.
Huh.
That's it,
It's pretty
right?
simple. It's
It's
not.
simple and straightforward, right?
Yeah.
And dancers always pick it up
Oh yeah.
faster than anybody else.
I took
And
one with like a master who's been studied by like a few lessons by Berkeley. Like they actually have done all these crazy studies on him because he can change shift energy and do all these crazy things. So he's amazing. One session I was like, okay, what's next? You know, like puff puff over here. When's my next what else are we doing? He's like, well, that's kind of it. So, you know. Okay,
ex-
great. You taught me
exactly.
everything.
Exactly. That's kind of the lesson to me.
Mhm.
And one of the super big reasons why I wanted to chat with you is that there are so many business gurus who come up with this random abstract factoid con artist take on things that sounds
Yes.
good but
Mhm.
in practice would be horrific. Or
Right.
this idea,
Mhm.
all those wacky ideas get burned away when
Yeah.
you focus on the physical layer. And as a
Totally.
dancer, you have an extraordinary amount of history and experience with that base physical layer that most people skip over.
Mhm.
So if my guru couldn't even handle their body, why in the world would I be listening to them about emotional control or
Right.
controlling your finances or your
Totally.
time, right?
No, that's
So
so true.
how is it that your physical practice gave you that framework to then appreciate your other layers?
Great. This is actually the smartest question ever, and I love this. So the the one thing that you said earlier, and I'm going to turn it back to you, was that everybody learns in stories. And when you can, I mean, there's people who can just learn; they're more like mental learners, but mostly everyone is a physical learner, like to some extent. And when something clicks, when your mind and body connect, there's just more of a chance of success, right? Like for you to understand something. And when you have these epiphanies of like, oh, when I'm like jumping, I have to think up instead of down before I go up, right? Like you have to think of all these oppositions and things. And once you start getting these little things click, you can start. My teacher in Tahoe actually used to say this all the time because she kind of probably knew that there's not going to be very many kids that actually become ballerinas when they grow up, but what they could do is take the formulas that they've learned in class and apply them to real life. And when you push past like boundaries and these barriers that, it's like, okay, I can't do the splits. And then all of a sudden one day you start stretching and you get more and more flexible. And then one day you slide into the splits and you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. That's a breakthrough that you actually realize like, oh, I can really conquer anything. There's always a solution. There's always a way to get to my goal. You can start doing that in anything. I don't care if you're a doctor or a scientist or a dancer. Like it's all the same. It's just learning that formula, that mind body connection of like, okay, this is why this works and this is why I walk with the opposite hand is because I need that counter, like the balance and everything. You can start applying that into anything. And then, like I said, with the goals, it's like if you have a goal and you can achieve that in a physical form, you start realizing, like, oh, well, if I read this book, if I take this course, if I, focus on it, then I'll get an A in my class or whatever. And then if I'm a doctor and I have a big surgery tomorrow, I have to like do this, this, and this to prepare for it and make sure that all these things happen. You just start, I don't know, things click. I love the physical learning so much. I'm a very physical learner. So it's just like, for me, that always worked. But I find that even if you're not a physical learner, the mind body connection just it's so powerful, and it's something that everybody that that learns how to use their body benefits from it, whether you're walking down this busy side street in New York or something and just walking around people, having that spatial awareness, that peripheral vision. It's just like, or sitting up straight like I should be doing, like just being aware of your body. People, it's really interesting to meet people who don't know their body from a hole in the ground, because you're just like, how do you not like know that you had like an ulcer in your stomach when it was like the tumor's like this big? You know what I mean? It's like, or how do you not know the last time you went to the bathroom? Like that is just, you know what I mean? That mind
Yep.
body connection is just not there, and we all have the ability to learn that. And I think, dance definitely kicks you in the butt to learn learn that. It's whether it's fun or not. And most of the time it's not.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure it's a complete fluke that
Yeah.
the world's best physicists and scientists and
Oh,
thinkers all say, I do my best thinking while I was out taking a
walking.
walk,
Mm-hmm.
Thoreau,
Totally.
riding, walking through the woods,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
then meditation. People going, oh, meditation won't work for me. And like, it's an intense physical practice
Yeah.
with physical cues of where
Mhm.
your mind is. And if
Right.
your body is out of alignment, your mind is out of alignment. So you then
Totally.
have those hard physical markers of your mental discipline. But oh, yeah, it's only worked for thousands of years. You're the one exception.
I know. I think people people kind of always think like, well, I'll be different, you know? It's like no, there's a reason why people have been dancing the same way for a few hundred years. Although there's definitely like my dream in life is to actually establish when I become super super famous and I have all the money in the world. I think what I will do with that is to actually, and you can hold me to this, is to actually kind of create a university for dancers, for people in transition, um, from dancer to leader, to actually learn how to be a leader, because it's there's no transition for that. It's just this really crazy thing that has been the same for a long long time. There's just no, it's like we prepare for 10 years more sometimes to become a ballerina, and then we become this ballerina, and we've had the proper growth and the proper training and the tools and stuff, and then there's these people that are leading, and there's no transition for them at all, and they're just supposed to know economics, how to deal with people, how to like choose what choreographers to use, how to, you know, it's just so many things that they're not prepared for, which is why you know, the ballet companies are you know, not where they should be. It's like it's been such a revolution of you know, or you know, like all these hundreds of years of ballet, it really hasn't changed at all. And I think you know, 2020 COVID definitely made people have to transition a little bit more onto the World Wide Web. Um, but you know, it's just way far behind. It should be a leader in arts and creativity, and it's just been kind of lagging for too long. So when I when I get to the level where I can actually start this university, maybe you can help me. We can ask lots of dumb questions and build something great together.
Perfect. All you need is a website and excessive amounts of gumption, which I do
Love
believe
it.
you
That's
have.
great. Yeah, I do. I think we could start it tomorrow. Let's do it. Oh,
Deal.
today. Today.
And that kind of forward thinking piece is a detail I wanted to touch base with you
Yeah.
on too. It's like my background is as a painter. I loved acrylics because they would dry
No
fast,
way. Oh my
and
gosh, I love that.
I like getting done. I'm like, okay, next painting. Like
Oh, that's amazing.
I like painting more than I like watching paint dry. And then I graduated college. I almost got thrown
Oh,
out for
that sounds like a
using.
lyric in a new song that I will write tomorrow.
Go for it. I just want a byline. That's all I want. And
Okay.
then I almost got thrown out of the art school for using a digital camera to make my slides of my paintings,
No
because
way.
we had to make slides, and that was going to be a part of being an artist.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend at the time, who I learned to swing dance for, by the way,
Nice.
uh,
Nice. Wait,
so I was
for or with?
uh, well,
With.
for
For.
first, well,
Okay.
okay, this is a rabbit hole. So
Okay,
we
yeah.
started dating pretty close before summer,
Okay.
and then I had an internship down in Fort Lauderdale. So I went down to Fort Lauderdale for the summer, and I was like, I really like this. I really like this girl. She loves swing dancing. If I come back from the summer and
And I
I'm
know how
still
to
as
swing
bad
dance.
as I am now, I know for sure this won't last long. So that summer, I learned how to swing dance, and then came back, and then I could swing dance, and then I was the warm body for the swing club there at school.
That's so awesome. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
so
I love it. Okay,
I
sorry, that
can
was a
cut a
rabbit
rug.
hole, but I
Yeah.
am so glad that we did that. Thank you for
Yep. And
So back to the real
yep.
story.
So she was a photographer and worked at the college newspaper, and she had a really nice digital camera.
Mm.
So I used a digital camera and made the mistake of announcing that that's what I was doing. And then the art
Brr,
department
brr,
almost
brr.
threw me out
Announcement.
for, yeah, because they're like, this isn't the spirit of the assignment. We specifically told you to use slide film. That's part of the deal. And I was
Oh.
like, listen, there's this thing called the internet. It's a big deal. Like
Right, the World
I
Wide
was
Web exists,
yes,
and
I was
yeah.
building my first website in 1999, hand coding the HTML
Oh,
in
wow.
debate class. Like
Oh, yeah. Little
that's the
puff puff.
nerd I
Okay.
am,
Yeah.
right? So,
Smart
all
nerd.
right, I could juggle fire when I was 13, coding a website, big whoop.
Yeah.
So I'm
Physical and then mental. See, it's so much easier when you do the physical first.
right.
especially
So
juggling
so
fire. That's not what.
yeah, I had great parents, or
That's
horrible. They
awesome.
were they were awful in the best ways. Um, so
Me too.
so,
Oh,
so I that whole technology angle has always been big. So then
yeah.
iPad comes around, and oh, wait a minute, I can paint on an iPad. So now I
Oh,
paint on an iPad. Then there's this technology comes around called blockchain. Like, wait a minute, I can take a JPEG and turn it into a non-fungible token that people will buy for Ethereum. This is awesome. I love
amazing.
living in the future.
Yeah.
All of this for a reason. You were the first hologram to sing for a project.
How did you
So
find that? That is
listen,
a deep dig. Oh my
listen,
God.
I'm a mentalist. It is my job to do research on people and then claim it's psychic vibes. It's
That's so
just
amazing. Slow
right.
clap, man. Whoa. Okay. Yes, I was. Jaunt Labs. I was one of the first ones to ever do a 360 camera music video. And that was through my friend who was in film school at USC. They'd gave the students like a few of these crazy cameras. Now they're like, I've done some since and they're like this big, like the size of
Uh-huh.
my eyeball. And back then they were the size of like, like twice of the size of my head. And there was an underwater scene that we did, which I hate underwater scenes, by the way, but like we did it and it was really cool. I did it in this crazy heavy dress. I almost drowned, but it was cool. And then there was this 360 camera thing, and that was Jaunt Labs. And this is like before, I mean, we didn't even get approval to show it because no one had headsets to view them back then. They started doing those cardboard boxes. Like there was just no way to like show it to people. Like you couldn't just there was no YouTube XR or whatever it is nowadays, but VR. So then flash forward, I don't know, a few years ago, I really thought I want to get into technology. I went to this like tech conference, and I was like, hold up, y'all are using your left brain a little much and there needs to be a little bit more balance because you guys can barely like have a conversation with a human being, let alone be planning our future. Like this is definitely going to go south if you all are in control of our future. So, so I started kind of inserting myself into things and being like, I want to get into this. How can I help? There's so many artists that want to be involved with especially the VR world, that space. And they never, it's like, it's so frustrating to me. I have not given up, but I have to become bigger than the industry before I can go back into it, I believe. Because the problem is, in my opinion, is that dancers give and then they receive. Like there's that generate or that sort of like energy where you give more because you know you'll get it back, right? Like, and you give up front. You're always generous with your time. Dancers work harder than anyone else. It's not like we're there for the paycheck. I've never once thought, how much am I getting paid for this? It was like, we get a salary. It was a good salary. I didn't have to think about that. But even if I did, I wouldn't have because I've done so many projects for free. I don't even think about asking because it's for the greater good of the art, the whatever I'm doing. Not so much in technology. They are the most greedy people, and they always, and this is always the case. Jaunt went under because they don't like to give for free. They don't like to test things very long. They don't like to just like collaborate. Like there's none of that happening. It's all left brain. It's like very much just like what are the numbers, da 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 da. Da. And because of that, they always go under. And so I've worked with like 4 or 5 companies in the VR space, in the XR space, in the volumetric capture space. They always go under because I mean, they want to charge a performing arts organization like $30,000 for a 1 minute video where no one can actually see this stuff. So it's like they don't understand that you give a little, you get so much more, and you build an audience for it and a platform for it to grow, and then it becomes its thing. It does not happen by. So with John, I was doing a test and like all artists, you start asking questions. Why aren't we doing it with sound? And they're like, huh, well, we haven't really thought about that really very hard, but we've never tried it before. Why don't we just try it? And I was like, great, let's do it. So we did it. And I was the first artist to ever be in a volumetric capture rig. And which is, by the way, for viewers who don't know, volumetric capture is when you are the center and there's like cameras all around you and it builds like a hologram of you. Like think Princess Leia in Star Wars hologram. Instead of 360 cameras, when the camera's in the middle and it films 360 degrees around you, so you're on the outside. So then you can, as the viewer, you're like in the middle and you can turn your head and see as if you're in the middle of a space. So that's like my little explanation. But so I was in a volumetric capture thing. So I was a hologram and they created a hologram of me singing, which is really cool. I think they went under soon after that. So I never really got to see the final, but I saw little videos of it. It was really cool.
Man, that's brutal.
And
Yeah.
sorry you got to hear my little tangent, but I am passionate about that. The performing arts, there's so many people who want to be involved at the VR space, and it's just like they just are missing an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody over here.
Yeah, a buddy of mine had a motion capture suit.
Oh, nice.
And I
Wait,
was
a
like, "Hey,
suit?
yeah." It
No
it
way.
used it used it wasn't like room tracking. It was
Okay.
more inertial tracking of the suit itself. So you put on the
Yes, you
gloves,
put
you
on the
put on
yeah,
the
and you can do everything.
headband. So then I did the kung fu forms, and then he
Nice.
slaved it to a robot body. So there's this robot doing kung
You're
fu.
kung
I
fu.
was just like, this is so awesome.
That's
So yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
that's just what I did for a Tuesday because that's how you
That's
think.
just that's yeah, exactly. That's what you think. But see, yeah, it's just like it's so nice because you have kind of the left brain and the right brain connection with the body. Like imagine the world. It's just like, with that kind of being able to think logistically and then also be creative and then also add the element of like, oh, what if I do this? And with your body, it's like that's where the magic happens. And what is happening in that space and why it's not succeeding is that they're not connecting the left and the right brains together. They're just left brain, and they think
Yeah.
they're artists, and that's where they're very wrong because there's people like me out there going like, what if you did music to it? What if you? And it's like you've literally never thought of that, like, or how about making it a little bigger so we can dance instead of just doing like nothing, like saying hi to a camera.
Right. And it's that
Anyway,
proprietary, we have to protect our secrets that
I
the
know.
magic world is deeply ensconced in too. So
That's
I
really
get it.
interesting. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but
Well, everyone's afraid
collaboration,
that they're someone else is doing something, and guess what? They all are. I will never forget talking to the Jaunt president, and I had done volumetric capture work with some Chinese company like 3 years earlier, and he heard about that, and he you could see the insecurity on his face, like, "So who else is doing that? Do you remember what the name of the company is?" I was like, "No, because they went under. Like you all will. Like this is so dumb."
yep. And that's the thing. It's like I've never loved club dancing when it's it is just me. Just like look how good I am. Partner dancing
Right
has
when I take a
always been
sip.
more
Right when
interesting.
I take a sip, I
Right?
almost splattered it.
Thanks. I missed that spit take by
Oh,
500 milliseconds.
I
Yeah,
know.
but
It's
it's
like
like
it hurt.
partner dancing is just so much better because you are
Sure.
having that exchange of momentum. You're having that playful
Yeah, and the shifting and
interaction
the weight and everything.
and the
Yeah.
delightful surprise, the horrific
Mhm.
surprise of why the hell would you ever throw your head back in a dip that far away from our fulcrum? Like, what are you
Right,
doing? Right?
onto my kneecap, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm. That's how I got my
that
first concussion. It really
outstanding.
is. Yeah.
That'll do it, right?
That'll do it.
But
Cuckoo.
it's just kind of proof that collaboration is always going to make better
Yeah.
work.
Yeah,
And part of
it really
my
is.
background has been as a consultant for tech entrepreneurs.
Mm,
There's a tech incubator in Chicago called
nice.
1871, voted best incubator in the world.
Wow.
Um, I would have office hours where I would just have this afternoon, book a time, let's talk.
Yeah.
And my job was to help them communicate like a human being
Oh my God.
because it was
Thank you.
always
Thank
here's
you for
this
doing that
feature,
for the
here's
world.
this feature, here's
Yeah,
that feature.
I
And I was
know.
like, I don't understand any of that. I don't care. None of
Yeah.
it. How does it
It's
make
not a
my life
story.
better?
It's not a story. Yeah,
Exactly.
totally. It's
So
buttons.
having having people who can tell stories in a human way
Yeah.
to be able to connect an audience, whether it's users, clients, customers, or a real audience of real
Yeah.
people, to their project, is the missing dimension of success.
Totally. Totally. I totally agree. I was a lot of the time the only female in these buildings, and I would meet these people and I'd be like, "How are you developing something that we're all like Facebook or something?" I'd be like, okay, that's a communication app. Like, how are you not able to hold a conversation with me?" You know, it's just like, oh my gosh, these people are in control of our future, and that's scary to me. So, and that's not everyone. They're nice people, and we need them, but they need us too, and they're not allowing us to join the table to be, you know, they're not giving artists a proper seat at the table in order to help create, you know, because that's what we do so
Right.
well,
And
creators.
that's part of my life mission, is to get artists involved earlier in the creation process,
Yeah,
because
totally.
most
Because we come in a
artists,
lot too late. It's
yep,
like it's already developed. This is how it works. Now do something.
what color should we paint this to make it clicky?
Yeah, totally. Will
Like,
you just do a little like a little dance or something and promote my app? You're like, what is the app? Why am I
exactly.
doing this? Is this? And you know, the other problem, and this is something that I've talked about at conferences as well, is that there is no future planning. Like for me as a dancer, and then becoming a Broadway actress, and then also becoming a singer, I'm getting better and better at the dreaming part, right? And like as an adult, knowing what I know now, I apply that into my dreaming process. And when I say dreaming, like it could be planning, like you could just insert that word instead. It doesn't have to be so whimsical, but it's very much just like planning. It's like an organizer.
Yep.
And there is no 100, 200, 300-year plan for any of these companies. And I think that's very important because of the fact that we are not thinking long term as to how this is affecting children's brains and looking at flashing screens all the time, how it's going to affect those people when they grow up because they are our future, how these things, you know, change the psychological, like psychologically change a teenager, and that very sensitive time. You know, I've seen a lot of the dancers in the dance world have eating disorders from me bully comments of like, oh, I thought ballerinas were supposed to be thin. That, I mean, I that's a literal thing that has happened, and that one comment, that one bullying comment where someone would never say that to your face, but they feel comfortable from behind a screen, and they don't know this person from a hole in the ground, so they just say it. They don't understand that that little girl now has an eating disorder, now goes to therapy once a week, now has, you know, a lot of problems, quit ballet. Like there's so many things that are happening, and people don't think about it when they're developing these things. They're not thinking long term, like, how is this going to benefit humanity and how is it going to change them and how could it potentially go if we don't watch out? You know, there's no planning, dreaming, whatever you want to call it, for like 100, 2 years, 200 years out. Like it, and it needs to be that way. People used to, you know, think about that stuff. What is my legacy going to leave? Is this going to be better or worse for humanity?
It's really good detail, and especially being in a world that goes back to the beginning of humanity.
Yeah.
It's like I often say, is like, listen, I'm a mentalist. That's a different flavor of magician. We've had magicians since fire. Like the
Right.
first guy was like, look over there, ha ha, fooled you. Like that's the beginning of magic. There there aren't that
Fooled you.
many other professions that are older.
That was so good.
Right?
Oh, I'm getting so much material. Oh, thank you.
But
Haha,
I
tricked
like
you.
that, right? It's,
Mhm.
yeah, the we've been around for 10,000 years,
Yeah,
and
or more.
dance and magic's going to be around for that much longer. It's nice
Right.
to expand your time horizon and see yourself as the next in a line stretching back before written history. Well,
Mhm.
we have reasonable expectation that will continue to the future.
Right.
Let's start thinking on bigger time scales. That's a cool
Right.
idea.
And you know, one last thing I'm going to add to that is the investors are going to start changing only because women are starting to become parts of the XR space specifically. The tech space is very there's a few women and they're awesome and I've met most of them because they're all in the Bay Area here and so they're amazing. And the more success that they have, the more they will start investing in other women in order for that like male female balance as well, because it's not just the left brain right brain, it's like there has to be more of a balance in general, and it's not making women turn into men. It's kind of realizing that okay, we're both superheroes and we can both exist in the same, you know, like world, and we can collaborate together, and together it becomes something really spectacular. And I think um I don't know. I had a few like startup funny stories about tech stuff because I wanted to do something in tech and arts right at the beginning of COVID. And an investor, a male investor, told me, you know, I just want to make money. Like, I don't care what this is good for. Just show me, like, how are you going to make money? This sounds like it's like, you know, this is a bleeding heart kind of thing. And it was not a bleeding heart, let me put it that way. But it was also so interesting because I speak to female investors and they have a very different approach. And so I think the more success that women have and the more opportunities women give each other, I think there will be a nice little change there as well. I don't know. I know very little in the tech industry. I've only been in it for like 5 years, but it's very interesting to me because it's just out of balance, and that's how I see it from an artist's perspective.
And that reminds me of another one of my favorite words, koyaanisqatsi.
What? Where are you coming up with these words? These
Listen, man, I've lived a very, very weird life to
Oh,
to
you
run
are
across these.
very. This is like the most eclectic group of words I've ever heard, and I feel like I'm a wordsmith. So this is funny. Tell me about this word because I've never heard it.
Sprezzatura comes from Italian. I heard it at Disney University.
Okay.
I did a Disney college internship, and part
Nice.
of a college internship there, you can go to Disney University to learn corporate skills. One of them was
Wow.
marketing your like branding you was that, and Sprezzatura was just a whole day's lesson, which was awesome. And I
Wow.
remember the moment I heard it, I was like, yes, that. So that's where
Keeping
that
that
comes
one in my
from.
back
Yep.
pocket. Yeah.
And then Koyaanisqatsi is a movie I watched that my debate teacher in high school was just like, today we're going to watch this movie. It's for you, Jonathan. Everybody else, you're not going to enjoy this as much as he is, but this is for you. Like, I don't know if he was hungover. I don't think he ever
Oh,
drank, right? But
that's so
for
funny.
whatever reason, it was a movie day, and it was
Wait,
Koyaanisqatsi.
is okay, what is Koyaanisqatsi about? And also, does Philip Glass, did he compose the music?
Yes.
Because I have his album. Okay, that makes more
Yes.
sense. I'm like, I've heard this name
Yep.
before.
It's
It's
a
a lot of
life
like,
out of
oh, oh,
balance.
oh, yee, oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
cool.
it's a non-narrative, non-actor movie
Huh.
that uses imagery and juxtaposition to tell the story. And
Interesting.
it
With
is
that music,
just
it's intense.
entrancing to me. It's just
Yeah.
I don't even need to be on LSD to enjoy it. It's just
That sounds like the music makes you feel. That's so funny. Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh, Philip
Koyaanisqatsi
Glass is
is that.
favorite. Philip is literally when I first heard we did a ballet called not Philip, Glass Pieces, and it was so like hypnotic and just it's repetitive in the most beautiful way. It just
Yep. And that brings you're just
no.
perfect with the segues. I love it. You're just teeing
Oh.
me up like a pro, which is I was listening to the singles that you've released,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, okay, okay, it's on Spotify, also
Yes.
doing singing. What's this gonna be like? So I hit play, and you're like, oh hell yeah, I could listen
Oh,
to this.
good.
And
Yay.
then a notification pops up, and then I was doing emails and that kind of thing, and then I realized that I had been through those four singles, I think like 5 times,
Oh my
and
gosh,
didn't
no.
notice.
Oh no. Oh, well, you didn't notice. I was like, I am
No,
so
no.
sorry.
No, like it just
That's
it was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
To me
great.
I'm doing a really bad job of it, but that was a main selling point to
Well,
me
because I
was
was
that
super
I could
nervous
get
the whole
lost
time.
into it
Oh, I'm so
and just
glad.
be like, "Oh
Yay.
yeah, this is because I don't like most music with lyrics specifically for its programming
Yeah.
abilities.
Yeah.
It pulls my mind too much.
Right,
Like
totally. Oh, I'm
I
totally the same way. If I'm
yeah,
studying, you cannot have lyrics. I can't have the TV on because I'm like listening to the lyrics the whole time. I
yeah.
totally agree with you.
And yeah,
Also,
and I can't
lyrics
even
nowadays,
understand lyrics. It's
yeah, well,
just
it's,
the whole vibe together
yeah,
gets me and I just like I don't like opening myself up to that kind of hook
yeah.
from somebody I don't know,
It's
right?
funny that you say
It's
hook because that's a word that everybody uses. It's a industry term like this is a great hook and you're like, is that a good thing? Is it
it's
really
like
though?
called
Like
TV programming. Like thanks but
right,
no
right.
thanks.
Programming,
Right.
listening and
Mm-hmm.
watching.
Yep. So all of that to say your music has lyrics and it didn't bother me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate that because actually that's exactly what I was going for. I kind of wanted easy listening, but like there's still, there's something in there that needs to be heard, but it's not that I'm punching you in the face with my vocals, even though I could. But my producer, he calls it jazz hands. He's like, tone down the jazz hands. It's a little much, and I'll tone it down. So you kind of like have this chill, because in film and in recording, it's very different than stage performing versus stage acting. All the things that we do. It has to be like over pronunciated because there's like however many seats there are. It could be a small theater, but like San Francisco Ballet is 3,500 people and it's real deep. And so you are tons of makeup. You're way over exaggerating every movement. And if you get on camera, they're like, oh, that was way too much. I'm like, all I did was blink. Like it's really nothing.
Yep.
And then on stage, it's the same for singing. You're like over enunciating everything and singing as loud as you can. And then you get a microphone, they can hear you whisper, and you're like, oh my, like you heard me swallow. Like this is a lot. So yeah, toning it down was like the first thing that Bart Shodell instilled in me is like you really don't need to punch people in the face with your vocals. It'll, less is more.
I like that. One of my mentors told me early on, he just goes, "Look, the camera can read your mind. Whatever it
Yes.
is that you're thinking about comes through in the image."
That's a really
So,
great, like, who's your mentor? Is this like a acting like Meryl Streep or something? Like
uh,
that's genius.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
David Hyra, phenomenal, insightful dude, and the guy who took my first headshots
Oh my
echoed
God, I
that
love
same
it.
thing. He was like, "All right, so I know you're worried about the photo shoot, and this is your one chance to get photos that you're going to be using the whole next year for promo. Well, that's what's coming through in your pictures, right? You're a mentalist, you're a mind reader, this is what you do. So let me tell you, the camera can see everything you're thinking about and it'll come through. So let's try
Mhm.
this out." Then he walked me through. He goes, "Imagine you're standing center stage. You just did the best show of your life, and everybody's standing up, and you're getting a standing ovation. And what did you do to make that happen? And just really think through that." And then he goes,
Yeah.
"Look at me, click." And then that
Uh,
was the money. Like that was
that's
it.
it.
That
That's
was
it.
that was the poster for the whole
That's
next two
acting
years.
101. Yeah, totally. No, that's amazing. I love that. Yep.
Yeah.
Slow
So
clap for that.
how do you put all that together? Right. So
Ooh,
that's one thing I
yeah.
like asking people who are. I have another phrase that I've coined is neodidact.
Neodidact.
Pretentious way to just say we learn on our own, because most people are familiar with an autodidact. They taught themselves. Okay, cool. But we live in the time of humanity where we have access to the world's best teachers in all of human history
Yeah.
on YouTube.
YouTube.
And for
Yeah.
people who realize the treasure trove of what they can learn in this
Mhm.
one life they have, it is now like catnip
Yeah.
because you go, oh, yeah, okay, I
It
learned how to do this. Now I can learn to do that and I can do this.
totally is. Yeah.
But the whole jack of all trades, master of none is such a pervasive withholding belief that
Totally.
I can't learn to walk and talk at the same time.
That
Heaven
has
forbid.
been, yeah, that has been literally the one thing that has been the most frustrating as a multi-dimensional artist is that there's a box and you have to be within this box. When I was invited to go to Broadway and I was still in the ballet, the people in the ballet called me a Broadway star. Okay, so no, that's not like, no, I'm not a Broadway star. I got a job on Broadway. And then I go to Broadway and they call me prima ballerina. I'm like, no, they just call me Broadway star in the ballet. Like, this is just so frustrating. And then you start getting typecast and you can't get any more, it's like, oh, you just can't get any more compartmentalized than that. You start getting all of these job offers and you're like, I want to be an actress now. I'm a good actress. I want to do that. And they're like, but you're a ballerina though. And there's, that's perfect for you. So you're just going to do that all the time. And so then it becomes this whole thing, which is why I became Empress and officially decided the only way to kind of break through those boxes that people want to put me in is to build my own and call it an empire and call it Empress and be everything that I want to be and everything that I've always wanted to be recognized as, and to stop getting these shocked faces of, yes, I wrote a symphony too. Why do I have to just be a pop musician, right? Like, I literally just wrote a half-hour symphony, and like, that should not be like a bummer for anybody. It should be, and it shouldn't be like too much of a mind blow thing. It'd be like, yeah, that's Empress. She does it all, right? Like, it shouldn't be that I'm bursting anyone's bubble here. I'm not trying to, It's just I am who I am, and I don't think I'm very different from you. I'm not different from the person that lives next door. It's we're all able to do anything and everything. It's that the world wants to be able to market you, and in order to market you, they have to put you in a box, and that box has to morph into something a little bit more, like a I don't know, don't put me in any box, please. That's kind of how we all feel, I think, at this point. We're all
Right.
feeling like these boxes are just getting so frustrating on so many levels. I'm blonde, and so I'll always be blonde, or I'm brunette, and it's little things like that start, and then it becomes you can't be a singer because you're a ballerina, and then you blow that box open, and then they're like, okay, but you're a Broadway star, not a ballerina. I'm like, no, but
Yep. That's giving me hints that we're on the right track, I think.
yes, yes,
Which is I call it alchemy. You call it dreaming. I call
yes,
it
I love that.
alchemy, which
Alchemy's great.
is we all have the base metal of
Mm-hmm.
the same number of minutes per day.
Right.
We've got that useless resource that is actually the most valuable resource ever, because from that you can create anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So most people give away their time to try to save what time creates.
Oh,
So they give away
interesting.
its source. And the quality of your creative abilities, the upper ceiling is how much your imagination you can bring to bear on your time, and the skill set you've cultivated to transform it through your effort and imagination. So
Wow.
you
Yeah.
have to become your own alchemist to create your own thing that has never existed before,
Yes.
so that people have no frame of reference of what the hell that is, so that you can have the freedom and space to put your own boundaries down of, here's what I am about, here's what I'm not about.
Oh, I love
So
that. Yeah.
like
Oh
I
my God.
tried.
Thank you. And with the alchemist thing too, it's like kind of goes in line with Empress, and what Empress stands for me is actually building your own crown, whatever that looks like. And then actually doing a self coronation, not waiting for somebody else to have the power over you to put it on your head. And the thing about the crown, which fortunately I know everything there is about a crown because I've been wearing a tiara since I was born in the ballet. And there's a lot of history lessons when you get a part with a crown for some reason, and I played all of them. They teach you in a nutshell how much insecurity comes with this crown because it's not yours, it's actually the kingdom's. So when you are crowned king, queen, whatever, empress, emperor, you don't own that crown, and it is passed on to the next person after you and so forth. And so you will never own that crown. And so that insecurity of everyone else needs something from you, wants something from you, potentially wants to get that crown off of your head sooner than you're ready to give it away. And so there's a lot of insecurity that's built into this crown that you did not make. So in order to actually be really the ruler over your own life and the creator of your own happiness is to build your own crown, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be a sparkly one. It could be a fireman's helmet, it could be a doctor's scrub, it could be anything that you want it to be. You build it and then you place it on your own head, and then you wear it and you own it, and it's yours. That's Empress for me in a nutshell. It's not me ruling over somebody else, it's me inspiring other people by walking the walk.
I love that. It's terrifying to a lot of people to rule their own kingdom.
Yeah.
And to the extent that we're all capable, not everybody wants that freedom because it
Right.
comes with the responsibility of, oh, I'm the one making the decision. If it goes
Mhm.
poorly, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Therefore,
It's so much easier to point the finger outwardly. It
right,
is. It's
right.
when you turn that finger back around and you have to actually look at yourself in the mirror and go, ugh, everything that I don't like in life is my choice. That that's really a hard thing to realize. But then here's the upside is that when you start actually realizing that you have that control and you don't have to wait for other people, like, and to make you happy, happiness is not something that is going to be an external, revelation. It might be a little short-lived one, but it's like, mostly if you're happy on the inside, nothing's going to change that, right? Somebody that loves you now might not love you tomorrow, and that's going to shatter you if that's what you're holding on to, if that's your happiness. And so, finding a little self love is the ultimate. It's what we're all searching for here in this world and life in general. We're all like looking for happiness and that inner peace and stuff. It all comes from inside. It doesn't come from pointing the finger like, I don't like this president, or, it's like we had a lot of time on our hands to point the finger outwardly in 2020. I mean, it was really easy to sit in our own little like snow globes and be like, I hate everything out there. But like also we're just miserable at home. Like, we're used to being distracted and being able to go out to restaurants if we want to, or bars, or hang out with friends, or, like just distract yourself from yourself, basically. And that time on our hands was really easy to not want to go in, even though we were stuck inside. That's the irony of it all, right? We're
Hmm.
actually stuck inside for a year and almost like exactly a year. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
I
it's easier said than done to point inward, but it's something that if we can do that, which I think everyone can, life will be a very different place. Because imagine a world where we don't need things from other people. We're self-sufficient. So we give because we want to give, and we receive because people want to give to us, and we're open to that, but we don't need it. It's not like a necessity, right? We're just very grounded and
mhm.
self-reliant. I think that would be a really cool world. It's
Yeah.
not, anyway.
It's kind of a who's holding your crown.
Right.
If it's anybody other than you got some work to do.
Right, totally. And for me in the ballet, that was my entire career. It was like I wanted to get a part or a promotion or something, and there was always it wasn't up to me, right? It was never up to me, and there was always other deciding factors, and it was like politics and all of those fun things that go along with it, not just talent, unfortunately. And it's one of those things that really kind of there's always something in the way, you know? And it was just like I was even when I was happy doing the roles, there was so much that like wasn't happy because I wasn't happy on the inside, that like I'd get the roles, but it's like trying to stick happiness on the outside of your body when it should be inside, right? It just kind of like falls off eventually. It doesn't, it's short lived, you know?
It's a
So
good way of
anyway,
putting that.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, the ballet, the ballet was a really great place for me to start my career because I'm like, it was such a growth spurt in my life, and I don't think I could have done it in the reverse order. It's so hard that if I went back now, I'd be like, what did you say to me? I mean, but I am who I am because of the ballet, so I will never know what it's like, and it's also impossible to be a dancer in reverse. If I was a
Right.
singer, actress, and then dancer, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That would take a
no
very
one will ever
unique
know.
set of skills to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, unless you're a super, Robert or something,
Yeah.
robot.
Yeah. So what is it that you're working on now,
Mm,
right? So you've worked into tech a little bit and you're like, I'll come back later.
yeah.
You've done the ballet thing,
Mhm.
done the acting thing. I dated an actress for a while, so okay. And then now now as the singer,
Oh,
what
the singer. Yes.
what's your kingdom that
Mhm.
you're building
Yes.
to rule over?
Yeah.
What are your
So
lands look like?
I guess the landscape right now is that I'm literally working. It's so funny that I just said landscape. I'm working with this group in Europe that is helping me with all these remixes for all my songs, because I know you and I both said we didn't really like, not you and I shouldn't put myself in there because
That's
I
fine. You
shouldn't
know,
put myself.
you want to make this
But
a we,
there's
that's
there's
totally
a
cool.
there's an EDM thing out there in the world that is really, it's a big world.
Oh yeah.
And I've always wanted to have like dance music to my music because it's kind of what I grew up dancing to anyways. It's like it's really just it's fun anyway.
Yep.
Not in the clubs, in dance studios. I just have to point that out. And so when I met this, so my producers friend introduced me to this group in Europe, and they're amazing, and they kind of like help you navigate the remix world, which I do not know a thing about. So I'm really grateful to be on that ship. So they've like got all these really cool projects lined up for me to be releasing. I have new music every 2 to 4 weeks and music videos lined up for the rest of the next, I don't know, probably for the rest of the year. 2020 was about like stockpiling stuff because it was like, what do you do with all this stuff that we've been like, I wrote tons of music, I recorded a bunch of stuff, we did music videos, we did all these fun things, and then I was like, I can't release any of this. So it was about stockpiling, and this year is about releasing. So last year was productive in a weird way. It was unproductive for many reasons, and then that time that every artist usually takes where they're out of the spotlight for years and years. I wasn't in a spotlight, so it's just me building a little underground world right now, but imagining what it's going to look like when it's a big skyscraper, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm like
Cool.
basically in the trenches building my legacy, if you will. Like I really say that with the, it's not like trying to toot my own horn, but it's kind of like, as a singer and an artist, it's so different than the ballet where your performance is like, it dies every second. I mean, like it lives maybe in the memory of the audience, but you can't, I don't know, you can't get that back. And whereas in music, it's much more, I mean, it lives forever technically. So it's like, it's one of those things that you don't put out everything that you write. So I've written like hundreds of songs, and you pick the ones that you want as an artist to share with the world. And then so it just takes, it's a lot more care than I am used to, because it's all me. Like
Hmm.
this is all me. It's not me being careful so that I'm respectful towards the choreographer and making sure that my steps are correct and everything. It's like it's a different kind of care, because it's like, this is me forever, and this is out there, and it's out there forever, and it's, once it's out there, it's not mine anymore. It's like it's yours to look at and to appreciate, if you will, or not, you know. And so it's just like you just put a little bit more energy into, you know, there's a lot of people who just have the means to just be like, boom, boom, boom. I don't care what, you know, like something will stick and you never know it's going to stick. So I'm just going to put a lot of crap out there and then hope something works. It's like for me, every single project I do it 150%, and I make sure that there's a story behind it and I make sure that there's meaning behind it, because also my lyrics, I always want to make sure that they're empowering people to be the best version of themselves and not in a preachy way, which is kind of difficult to do sometimes. So songwriting process can be like pulling teeth, but it's wordsmithy and I think you would actually really appreciate it. Um, but so I just put like a lot of energy into everything that I do. And yeah, whether it's good or bad to somebody else, it's me. So it's the first time I've been me as an artist, not like the ballerina that's in someone else's ballet or the actress that's playing this character. It's like this is me. So it's kind of cool.
What are your percentages like in terms of time spent effort wise? Some
Hmm.
context is the principle, the 80/20.
Mhm.
80% of your results come from 20% of your work. That
Mhm.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of people spend 80% of their time creating and then only 20% of their time sharing.
Yeah.
And inverting that seems to work really well. Spend
Yeah.
20% of your time creating, 80% of your time shouting it from the rooftops. And
Right.
that really helps your productive capacity because you're getting more from doing less.
Right.
And there's another professor on the show, Matthew Medney, who's the CEO of Heavy Metal Magazine, the world's greatest illustrated magazine.
I love it.
I love it, and I've had a subscription for years.
Oh
So
my
I
god,
just
I
love
love it.
talking to him. And he was like, no, no, 90/10. Get it to 90%. And the time it would take you to get it from 90 to 100% awesome will be as much time as it took you to get it from 0 to 90. So get it to 90%, then get it out the door. You're the only person that'll notice that 10%. So like there's all sorts
Oh my
of
god.
weird breakdowns.
I
So is
mean,
your cycle like on
whoa.
a annual thing where you spend a year creating, spend a year releasing?
No,
What
I was
what's the
just
vibe?
like, when you asked me that, I was like, I've never been asked this question before because I feel like I definitely, and this is means, I mean, I don't want to like offend anyone or anything, but like social media is the toilet of the universe and I hate promoting myself. That is the one thing the ballet like really trained into us, is like we have to be humble, because you have one bad day and you were tooting your horn yesterday and people will rip you a new one. And so it's like, and you'll also get your name xed out, and you know, it's very humbling. I've been humbled so many times in the ballet. And so it's really hard to just kind of shed that and be on social media in that like circus of check me out, check me out, check me out, check me out. And I love taking really beautiful photos because that's like, that's also goes with my quality over quantity kind of thing. Um, that I try and stick with. But it's just, yeah, it's just really hard for me to promote myself. But so I feel like I put 100% into my work and like no percent into promoting it in a way sometimes. Even though I feel like I can really promote it, I I have a rough time I feel like it's a wrestle with my conscience because I'm like, this isn't helping anyone or anything. It just makes people feel bad about themselves when they go online and like see prettier girls in them. I just don't feel like it's helping humanity. And then the one time that I was like really genuine on social media about like supporting another woman, it's like I've been like like the bullies come out of nowhere and it's like, oh my god, I just don't even want to participate in this right now. But I am struggling with that. That is my struggle. Of course, I want to push it out there, so I have a PR team. So like they do all all of that because that's what they do, and I don't mind paying for that because that's not what I do. And so they can toot my horn, and I can toot it to them and tell them what I want it to sound like and stuff. But it's just not really, yeah, that's not my strength, is promoting myself. It just isn't.
Outstanding. Well,
Yeah.
you know, an empress needs the royal trumpets to let
Hey,
people
yeah,
know.
It's just it's
Court's
not
now
going
in
to be
session.
Empress blowing those trumpets. It's going to
Right.
be
It would
my
look
PR
weird
team.
if
Yeah.
you
It's
were
like boop 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 boop. Here's comes me.
everybody, I've arrived.
Everybody, I have arrived to this yeah, my empire and there's no one else here because y'all have your own. So, there's
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce me. Yeah, it just doesn't
Empress.
work. Just doesn't
Crowd
work. I
goes
get it.
wild. Yeah, no,
Yep.
I know. So yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard to find the being like I don't know. It's just social media is not a humble place. It's like everybody's promoting something. It's also not an honest place, which is hard for me too. So it's been a struggle. People I know it's the only way that I can reach out to my audience right now because I don't have a show like we don't have performances. There's nowhere to do
Hello,
anything. So
Cleveland. How are you tonight?
right, exactly.
Still not here. That's how we
Still
are.
not here. Exactly. So yeah, I do realize that it's the only thing. So I don't want to burn that bridge, but I also don't want to promote it because I just don't think that that's benefiting humanity, and I don't think it's going to be good in 100 years.
Well,
So
the only light that you can shine is the light you can shine, and nobody else can shine it for you.
yes.
So the longer you hide it under a
Also,
bushel, you're depriving people of the light you've
that's
got to share.
exactly right.
So,
And I don't throw shade at anyone else for doing it. I just, yeah, you know how
yep,
it goes.
yep,
But
yep.
anyway,
So,
speaking
for
of
the
which,
people,
follow me on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, exactly. You're just the empress
Uh,
of segues. So
yeah.
as we are reaching the end of our time together, I want to make sure that we stick the dismount.
Yes.
And for the people
Double
who
flip.
do want to be uh
Followers?
yeah,
No.
a member of
Oh,
your court,
that's great. I love that. Thank
right?
you. Become a member of my court. Okay.
Right.
First of all, I'm going to start doing newsletters, and that will actually be my way of connecting with people in a real way. Even though it's not like actually having conversations with you, I will try and make it as real as possible. So I'm going to start that soon on my website. And so that is www.empress-music.com. And then you can follow me on Instagram is still my fave is empress.music is my handle. And it's pretty much the same. It's like the same for Facebook and Twitter as well, empress.music. And that's how you can actually like see what I'm doing when I'm doing something. I don't just I don't know, you know. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to stop there.
We'll call that a stuck landing if we ever had one.
I don't
So
know.
yeah.
It was like it was landing in mud. That's how we. It was a little wobbly.
You just didn't
Wobbly showed
bounce,
up.
you know, that's a
That's
that's
right.
a
That's
good
right.
part of it.
She sank and she stuck it. Woohoo! All right.
Ankle deep in that one.
Ankle deep.
Yep.
Oh,
Awesome. So yeah, well, yeah, there you go. See?
there
Easy.
you go. See,
That's
nailed it like a
how it works.
carpenter. Thank you
Yep,
so
yep.
much.
Perfect. So
And
yeah, let's
scene.
see. As far as tempo goes, actually I my aim is to get this out like on Sunday. It's
Oh,
faster
nice.
than I
That's
normally
awesome.
move, but you know, you're cool.
Perfect.
So
Hey, you're cool. I loved this. Wait, where are you in the world? You said Chicago once,
yep.
Cleveland another time. Where are you?
Yeah, Chicago is where I live.
Chicago.
Anytime before 2020, I would say I live on the road. I get my mail in Chicago.
Nice.
I
Got
live
it.
in Chicago, but I'll
Yeah.
be moving to
COVID
North
times.
Carolina
Oh, fun.
later this year to be closer to family.
Oh,
And getting married
nice.
in April, and then
Aw,
the whole family thing.
congratulations. That's
Thanks,
so
thanks.
cool.
She
Oh
is
my
very lucky.
goodness. She is. She is so lucky. You're so humble too. I love
That's
it.
my favorite gag to pull when
Yeah,
anybody
I've
tries to
never
like,
heard
oh,
anyone say that. Oh,
you're
that's so
so
great.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
oh,
like, she's so lucky. I know. I know.
mm-hmm. And they're like, uh, and it mortified her. It still does. She hates it, but
That's so great. I know. Well, my husband's kind of the same way where he'll say things like that. Like when we were trying rings on, we went to this hoity-toity store for him to try rings on for the first time. My mistake. I was just like, you can get anything you want. And he picks out like this ring and they were like trying to figure out what size. I mean, basics. He's never tried on rings before. He's like, I don't know what size I am. So trying on rings, he goes, this one's a little snug. And they're like, well, you want it to be snug. And he goes, well, I can't really get it off. And the girl goes, well, why would you want to take it off? And he goes, when I go out at night. Like he didn't even pause. And it was So
Yep.
awkward. I had to laugh, overly laugh, because no one was laughing. They all looked at me like, "You poor
Oh,
thing,"
do we
you
need to call
know?
somebody? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, that did not just happen." So you have to be like, "Ah, ha, 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 ha."
Yep.
And
That
then
that that was
it was
kind of
like
it.
out the door, like, "Drrrut, drrrut, drrrut."
Yep. Yeah, or my other one is, like, "Oh, you're so lucky." I was like, "Luck has nothing to do with this. I worked very hard to be this amazing so that, like, that none of this happens by accident.
Oh
That
my
that's
God,
just
that's
a
so good.
continual effort."
Luck
Yep.
has nothing to do with this right here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Mm-mm. Nope.
exactly.
Nope.
With
So,
that.
yeah.
No, thank you so much. You're amazing. That was like so much fun. Christina was right. That was the best interview ever. Thank you. Jazz hands.
Thanks. So,
Yeah.
yeah, your press kit is just gorgeous and amazing.
Oh,
And
thanks.
there's
PR
what
team.
I want to
It wasn't me.
turn one of your photos into a painting.
Do it.
I wanted to tell you in person instead of
Yeah.
that just being like a super weird email. Be like, by the way, I'm gonna paint
Oh
you.
my God.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
that's
that would be
super freaking
amazing.
weird. Yeah.
So cool. Please do. Which one? Oh, you don't have to.
Um, this one,
This one.
where is it?
Oh, you're doing a screen share. I was like, okay, great. Awesome.
No, where it's in here somewhere.
You can do it. No, is it?
It's no, it was
Oh, well
in
then
one
it
of
was
these.
somewhere. That's okay. But yeah,
Hide floating
that
muted
is my press kit
controls.
that the PR team put together.
Got
I'm
it.
upset. Oh, and I have more pictures to add in there.
Yeah, because
That
it's
photographer,
somewhere,
yeah, this
but
photographer that I've worked with for a while, she is insane. We just did this new photo shoot and it was like pretty,
yeah,
she's just
you've
amazing.
got a
She's a cool
gold
thing.
wreath, um, kind of necklace
Oh,
holding
the
a bouquet
yes,
in a statuesque
yeah,
purple, light
it's the
lavender.
lavender one. Yeah,
See,
I know
that's my art
exactly
training
which
coming
one.
through.
That's it, exactly. Hang on, do you want me to send it to you?
I just don't know where it went. So yeah, you email
It's
it to
on my
me, and then that
website,
way
I'm
I'll
sure,
be
but yeah, I'll email that to you. I'll do that
cool.
now. And do you need anything else on my end? I will be happy to promote it. I do love promoting collaboration stuff on my social media. It's weird. It's like a motherly instinct. I like do other people, but I don't want to do myself.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know
I
why.
I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put this in my cycle of shameless self promotion.
Great. No, you have to. Hey, and that's the
That'd
other
be it.
thing too, is like it's business at this point. You know, for me it's the way that I can promote myself and ugh, I hate doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
it happens. Anyway,
Yep, yep.
I understand. It's business. Business. Okay, I'm gonna find it. I've in the right folder. Here it is. All right. I will
Cool.
send this to you. Oh yeah, that would be really cool. I'm not
Right?
able to screen share,
Exactly.
but this one, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Very good, darling.
Yep. So here's
I'll email.
actually I'll show you some of the it's getting better all the time. I'm not great at it, but
No,
I
that's
like
awesome
what I
though. Hey,
do.
I love this stuff. And
So
I'll
these are some of
share it
my
on social. Oh my
yep.
God, wait, these are so cool. What? This is
So yeah,
amazing.
I paint these on iPads.
Holy,
This is not.
are you
That's photo
serious?
manipulation, but everything else
That's,
is
yeah.
hand
Oh
painted.
my gosh. Wait, this is so cool. Okay, wait, I was just thinking of something to do. Um, with art, I need to go back to because I'm always working on a million projects, but it would be really cool to do something where I have like a few of those and could put it into a slideshow for this remix. I just don't remember which one, but it would
Cool.
be really cool. Anyway, I'll reach out to you when I figure that out.
Deal.
All right.